knowing like it's difficult to just think of questions on the fly to ask people to get them to say the things you want them to say. It's best to have a series of questions that you know every single time you ask will get you the same answer.
This is a clip from a private coaching call I did with a struggling closer. Midway through my sales career, I got great at overcoming objections by having and mastering a process that produced consistent sales results. One of the hardest things for sales professionals is actually finding useful tactics that are aligned with human behavior and will allow you to get a sale without needing to be very pushy or very aggressive. And in this clip, I'm going to show you the process that I use, the mindset behind it, and how to easily navigate it so that way this mentee can go out there, close more deals, and get back up on his company's leaderboard. Now, if you're interested in getting coaching just like this, go ahead and click the link down below to schedule a call with me personally, where we can talk skills and give you a process that you know works for closing deals. And with that, go ahead and enjoy the video.
Okay, so are you saying that you currently don't have access to the 3,750?
No, not really at the moment.
Okay, no worries. Look, I can appreciate that you might not have access to all that, and I guess that's why we're here. I guess, like, what would you have available that you could put towards getting the skills?
I've saved up currently about 800, but really I can't put any more than that.
Okay. Well, do you mind if I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
What if we could like split that that investment up over say like a couple months, just to make it a bit more digestible for you? Is that something that might work?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Okay. So like what I'm thinking we could do, we could split that up over 6 months. So it'd be 750 today, 30 days later from now, 750, 30 days later, 750, and so on. And then like that way you can get access to the program right away. You can start learning the skills like right away today. Like, is that something that might work?
Yeah, possibly. I'd have to think about it honestly. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Look, in terms of the program and the process around that, any questions around that?
Yeah, so in solving logistics, just focus on getting buy-in to the structure before getting commitment. So I stay away from language like, so we could do that today or something that would work for you now. What we could do is we could potentially split it up over 6 months. So that way it'd be 750. It'd be 750 today. Well, you can say 750 today, but it's like at the end, don't imply that you want them to do it now. So it'd be like 750 today and then 750 30 days from now, 30 days, so on for 6 months. And that way, you know, it'd be something that will allow you to get access to the program while also giving you sort of that flexibility to kind of like, you know, pay for it as you go. Is that something that might work for you? Yeah, it might. Okay. And you mentioned you got 850. Is that something you have access to? Yeah. All right. So like if we were to break it over 6 months, do you feel like that would work? Yeah, that would work. Cool. Where next steps would be I could send you the link and then we could process the investment, or where would you like to go from here? So just get them completely bought in and stay neutral and a bit detached, but just get them bought in on the plan and then ask for commitment before sort of implying that I'll do it now.
No.
And I guess like that 750 a month over 6 months, is that something that might work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I get that. And I guess like with what you just said, like, is there like anything specific that you'd like to be thinking over?
Yeah. So when he says this is sort of that finite of just like funneling them into a really specific process. Because if you got the buy-in, because just like you did at the end there, that 750, is that something that would work for you? He says yes. Now I'd ask for the order, but sort of because you sort of implied doing it earlier, he kind of gave a little bit of pushback. So if you'd ask for the order, it would be a little bit weird contextually. And so I don't want them to give me pushback early. I want them to give me pushback after I ask for the order, because at least we've ticked the box. Yes, I do the program. Yes, that payment structure would work. And now I'm attacking something that's real. I don't ever want to try to like attack it potentially earlier. But even in this case, let's say you don't get that structure perfectly. After he says, yes, that would work, I'd be like, okay, next steps from here is I'd send you the payment link and then we'd process the investment. Would that be a good next step, or would you like to go from here? So after they confirm logistics, just ask for the order and see what happens. Cool. Any questions?
No, makes sense.
I just honestly have to talk about it with, the rest of the family.
Okay, no, I get that. Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so like with your family, and I don't mean this in like any way like rudely at all, just a genuine question. Like, would you like with where you're wanting to be in life, and I guess like with that, like, would you say that your family, like, would you say that they're in a good position, or like maybe like where you'd want to be in life later with the goals that you do have? Like, would you say that they're at that level, or?
No.
Okay. Well, like based on that, then, I guess what do you think they'd say if like you came to them with this like entrepreneurial like proposal, like starting an online business, and like as we mentioned like before, how like in order to succeed, you kind of have to do lean into that risk. I guess like, in your opinion, like how would they take that if maybe they haven't experienced that before?
I do think they'd agree with me, but I'd really just have to talk it over.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess like with the goals that you did have, Massimo, like you know, like wanting to save up for a car, you know, wanting to be able to provide for your family, like how long did you say you've been like wanting that for?
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. Okay. Well, let's say like 2 to 3 years ago, you know, like you went back in time and like you started something then, like you know, like you started up a business for yourself, you started working then. Like where do you think you'd be today?
Probably a lot further ahead than I am now.
Okay. And I guess like in your opinion, like because obviously everyone's got goals, like everyone wants to achieve things, like everyone wants something better out of life. But in your opinion, like what's the difference between someone who actually succeeds in their goals and achieves that compared to someone who maybe like doesn't?
Willingness, the will to do stuff, you know, being able to continue through it.
Okay, so being able to do something and kind of just stick at it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess like on that, like before they even do like have to push through and like continue with something, like what do they have to do first to get to that stage?
Well, probably a lot of research and looking into things and finding the right thing that would work for them.
Okay. Well, like on that, and like what you mentioned before when we were kind of like talking about that entrepreneurial mindset and like what kind of what you'd have to let go on, like in your opinion, do you think like successful entrepreneurs, they like plan things out for years, like they like did heaps of extensive research and like
Cool shit. You had him. So this is badass. So the first thing with the parent objection, we didn't really get to the root of what he wants to talk to his parents about to diffuse what that is. So the objection handling process that I wrote out doesn't go too deep into that. It just sort of covers how you channel it down. But the flow is clarify, discuss, diffuse. So clarify, what would you like to talk to your parents about? They'll say, I want to talk to them about the money. I want to talk to them about the program. They'll give you something. Depending on what that is, then it's like, well, could I make a suggestion? Sure. Now you're entering the discussion, and then discuss, talk with them, explain your logic with them, get them to like buy into the logic. And then from there, it's like diffuse, which is like you're using the logic to diffuse them, and then just ask for the order again. Well, yeah. So like you say, you need to speak to your parents. I guess, what do you feel like you know, potentially want to run by your parents? Yeah, I just want to talk about like the program itself. Okay. And for you, is there anything that's unclear about the program? No. And logistically speaking, you feel like you could afford it? Yeah. So, I mean, like, what about the program would you like to discuss with your parents? Well, you know, I don't entirely know. I think it's just letting them know that something I'm doing. Okay. Well, could I make a suggestion? Sure. You know, I can appreciate that you might need to speak to your parents. But like, remember what we talked about with the employed entrepreneur and just sort of doing the things that you said, like you could run them through. What do you feel like they do? Oh, they take action. And of that, you know, who's the person who's responsible? The entrepreneur or, you know, the other people around him for actually getting what he wants? Oh, the entrepreneur is responsible. And so coming right back to where we are today, right? Like you're the entrepreneur in this analogy. You're the person who's responsible. As much as you talk with your parents and stuff like this, if you said like they don't really understand where you're coming from, how are they going to be well informed to actually help you make that decision? I don't know. Well, so whose responsibility is it to actually step into that? It's mine. So where do you think we should go from here? So it's sort of a loop like that. But the biggest thing is just the parents. He said, think about it with like the veil of partner. So the think about it once again is a smoke screen. So it's like we just got to blow past smoke screen in the context of partner to figure out like what it is he wants to talk to them about. Because it could be that he has the money, just they're the one who has the credit card or whatever, or something like that. And so if it's just like, well, just go get the card. Like you don't need to ask him, just tell him you're spending money. It's your money. Does that kind of help?
Yeah, definitely. And I realized that like as soon as we got to that part, like, oh fuck, I should have clarified like what it was he wanted to speak to them about.
Yeah. But this right here, like your ability to ask questions. I mean, how do you feel asking these questions at this part of the call?
Fine now, because like in the beginning it was obviously a little awkward and I was like, oh, like can I say this? But now like now like over time and I guess with
that beginning of the call where he has given me those pain points, and I understand that he's not where he wants to be, and he does want something better for himself, then I feel like I have free reign to say whatever the fuck I want to, like try and convince him on it.
Yeah. So what you're doing here, like this is the skill of closing. Like these little questions you ask to sort of like reframe them in the moment or making a decision. That is the art of closing. Like that is what you're here to do is this job. Everything prior is easy. This stuff right here at the end, knowing how to ask questions about beliefs, that's the hard part of closing. And it just takes reps. Like I can hear you, like I can, when you listen to it, you know, I can kind of see you troubleshooting it, right? It's like you're asking good questions. But sometimes, you know, you're still kind of figuring out, because like you asked that one, like, what do you feel like they do before that? Oh, they think about it. And it's like, fuck, I wouldn't have asked that question if I knew he said he was going to flesh out research. But I've had that, right? Where sometimes you're just shooting shots, trying to get them to say the things you want them to say, and they'll just say shit that's counterproductive. But yeah, it's finding the ways to get there in the fewest moves. And I can give you ideas and questions for stuff around that, and there's specific flows, but just you get a feel for it in time. But the thing to really master is on that other resource, we talked about milestones and having a process, knowing like it's difficult to just think of questions on the fly to ask people to get them to say the things you want them to say. It's best to have a series of questions that you know every single time you ask will get you the same answer based on what they want. So like, I can't think of them all intuitively off the top of my head, but I know when I'm closing, like I have like my same, like when someone's giving me fear, I walk them through the same sequence every single time to get people over fear, because it makes sense for me and I know how to get it to land and I get them to see past it. And some of it's a combination of what you're doing now. Best thing for me to do would be to find a call where I overcame fear. I don't have any old recordings though where I do, but I should probably take a couple calls and maybe just get one to send you guys. But it's that, like that's channeling, is like getting it to like what you're doing now is like, what do you feel like they do? They take action. Okay. So I would, on your side, I would write down mentally, that question produces this result 90% of the time. What does the question need to ask after that to build off that point to get him closer to where he needs to go? Because milestone 1 is he knows he needs to take action. Milestone 2, the milestone you hit is like action needs to be taken. Milestone 2 is he needs to be the one to take action. Milestone 3, he needs to be the one taking action and comfortable doing it regardless of maybe not knowing or feeling like he has it all together. And then milestone 4 is asking for the order and getting the deal. So it's like address that action needs to be taken, get him to admit that he's the one that needs to do it, and get him to admit that he's the one that needs to do it regardless of how he's feeling about it, just needs to be done. And then you got him. So
yeah,
this is good. Let's listen to a little more of this and then I got to jump.
I just waited for the best opportunity. Do you think that's what they did?
Not necessarily. Probably a lot of risk taking in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then would you say maybe like so risk taking, like kind of just going for it when they do see that opportunity?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think like is that what maybe helps people like that actually want certain goals get to those goals?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like in that case, like, are you wanting to achieve your goals?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like in your situation, then like, what are you going to do to achieve those goals?
Well, I'm trying my hardest to achieve them and looking into a lot of different options. But
so something to do as well is put. So you kind of like, you put the focus on analogies, you put the focus on ideas to get them to articulate things. And then once they articulate it, put the focus back on them. So it's like the same way you ask, like, what's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't? They take action. Okay. And you know, why is that action important? Well, action moves them closer to your goals. And so do you feel like you're ready to actually take action and move towards your goals? You see how I shift it from like abstract to just like putting it on him and what he needs to do and asking him? That's sort of it. It's like when you said the risk thing, I'd be like, well, when it comes to this program, do you feel like this is a risk you'd want to take? And they'll be like, yeah. And so it's like, now you're moving closer to the deal. So like, if this is a risk you want to take and you know action's the thing you need to take care of, like, what do your parents have to do with it? You know, if we already said that they don't have, that's not the best flow. So like you mentioned, you know, you're still kind of looking to your parents, but they might not be the most qualified, but you know that if you need to take action and this is a risk you want to take, what do you feel like you should do? I don't know, man. But I'm dead serious, man. Like if you know risk and action is what's needed, what should you do? Should do it. And just lean into those. Put weight into the words and make them feel it. Make them stand behind it. You probably could have put it like if you shifted right there and put the risk thing back on him. And it's like, look, man, it just doesn't feel good. It's like it's not supposed to feel good. That's what risk is. Because there's a chance it might not work. But with where you're at, do you want to walk away from that? Do you want to walk away from the risk? Do you want to give up? No. Well, what are you going to do? I'll do it. And right there, it's like box them in so nicely. There's no out for that. Any questions?
Oh, makes sense.
Just don't know if I have the money to sink in right now.
Okay. Well, just before, like when I asked you that $750 a month, you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you said that is something that might work for you?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. And like between a couple minutes ago and now, because you just said you don't have the money for that, like has something changed?
No, it's just I need to talk it over with the rest of the family.
Okay. Look, Massimo, like man to man, because like you did mention the goals that you've been wanting. You know, you've been wanting that for about 2 to 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said yourself, like if you were to start like 2 to 3 years ago, you'd be in a much different position.
Yeah, it's really just clarifying the partner, like parents. What do you need to? Well, man to man, what do you need to talk to your parents about? And then just this, because sometimes like you got him. Like you really did. It's like, what is that one box that needs to be ticked? Man to man, what do you need to talk to your parents about? They have the credit card in their car. Are they home? No. When are they going to be home? 4 hours. You don't know. It could most of the time, it's something so stupid as that, where it's like, why don't you just tell me your parents have the credit card? They won't tell you anything. Like you need to take it there. Like these people will do everything to not be clear. Like you have to know what to ask them to get the clarity you want. Your prospect will never just be so candid as to be like, yeah, you know, I lost like something like that. Like my parents have the credit card in their wallet. They don't let me hold on to it. So when are your parents going to be home? I don't know. 2 hours. Cool. Do you know your credit card details? No, I don't. Well, let's do this. You said 2 hours. Yeah. Would it be crazy for us to put in a call for 2 hours when your parents get home? Let me get you rocking and rolling then. No, that wouldn't be. Okay, cool. So between now and then, I want you to watch the training video one more time because that's going to cover a lot of the stuff that's going to get you prepared for the program. Take some notes. And yeah, I'll text you from this number. Shoot him a message. Did that come through? Yep. Sweet. We'll talk in 2 hours, man. All right. Sounds good. End the call. Like, it's usually something as stupid as that because you've got him. I need to do it. I know I need to take action. I just need to talk to my parents. What do you need to talk? Like, yeah. So what do you need to talk to your parents about? But you have him. Now it's just putting the focus on him and clarifying those couple of things.